This is Coach Lee, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to get your ex back. Take a quick second, click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more videos on relationships, mindfulness, marriage, breakups, and success in life. After the initial shock and panic that results from a breakup, especially when you weren't expecting it, people will begin to problem solve. There's a realization that other people have gone through things that are similar, and there might be some information out there that can help. Usually people are looking for something they can say, something that can be said to their ex, and that will get them back. Normally that's not the case. As a matter of fact, that's almost always not the case. And that's the first thing I will tell you about how to get your ex back, is that most of what seems like the natural response, most of what your instincts tell you to do is wrong. Because your response is to grasp, to desperately reach out and try to make something happen. And therein lies the problem. You and your ex are coming from two polar opposites. In that moment, you are in shock, you're desperate, you're emotional, you're confused, you're hurting, you're angry. Your ex is most likely going to be much more calm, structured, cold, and resolved with the breakup. And that's because your ex has most likely been contemplating this for a long time. It feels to you like you were just blindsided, like it just happened. But your ex has been thinking about this, wrestling with it, hurting, going back and forth for a long time. Most likely, they talked themselves out of it a few times. They worked on things. They might have even mentioned to you that there were some difficulties and some problems that they were feeling or noticing. Sometimes they don't mention that to you, the person in your shoes, but it at least was inside of their own head. And sometimes they would say, I just need more time. We just need to have some more time alone together, a date, which puts a lot of pressure on that one event. But your ex most likely went back and forth and tried to talk themselves out of it. But they are several steps ahead of you because either they thought, okay, this is not working after all. What I thought would work is not. And they got over the shock of that. And there was less shock to begin with because their attraction level was falling. And so they weren't as tied to this. When you are rejected, which is what happens at a breakup, your attraction for the other person goes up. For some people, it just skyrockets up. For other people, it only slightly increases. But that's simply because there's a shifting of the totem pole. You have been demoted. This other person has said, instead of us being equals, where we're together and we want to be with each other, and so we are both attracted to each other at a similar level, I am breaking up with you, which means I am not as attracted to you as you are to me. And so you are demoted. And so your attempt is to bring yourself back up on that rung or the rung that you used to be on, and you will not just be trying to save the relationship, but you're trying to save yourself and how attractive you feel. You're trying not to feel like you have been put aside. And on top of that, you are feeling the loss because you had the relationship and now it's been taken away from you. And the person breaking up with you has the control. And so as I've said in other videos, you make your ex your dictator because they're in control. You're the one saying, no, let's stay together. Or at least it's known that you want to be together. Your ex is the one who is changing the terms of the relationship. They are calling the shots. So they're in control and you don't have any power. Just like in real life, if a dictator decides they want to come take your house or your income, they have an army behind them. You have no recourse except to beg for mercy. And that's what a lot of you do in this situation. When you've been broken up with, a lot of people will beg, please don't do this. Please take me back. What you're really saying is, please love me again, at least to the level that they did. It's a very painful thing. And I'm sorry that you're going through this. But I am going to give you some tips, some thoughts, and some direction in terms of getting your ex back. So the first thing you want to do in this situation is to give your ex the breakup. So to get your ex back, you have to give them the breakup. Why do you have to give them the breakup? Because if you stick around and you try to stay in communication, what will happen is your ex will not feel the breakup because you'll still be there. They will feel at least that they could get you back whenever they wanted to. But they might also feel like you haven't broken up at all because you're still in communication, you're still seeing each other, you're still knowing about each other's day and the events in your life, which is a form of intimacy. And so it's as though the relationship is still there, even though they don't want it. And so consider this. Nothing is more disgusting than the thing that you don't think you want being forced on you. And there's the key. Don't think you want. You see, your ex wants the breakup in concept, but until they actually experience it, they don't know for sure. That's why you have to give them the breakup. They have to experience the full breakup. Not a cheap imitation, not a partial breakup. It has to be a full-on breakup. And a lot of you out there, you think, I will just keep the lines of communication open. That just makes sense to me. I hear people say that sometimes. That just makes sense to me. Well, based on your 2 breakups in your life, I could see where that might make sense. But I am telling you, I'm speaking from a position of thousands of observations, thousands of cases, 20 years watching these things. And so I want to plead with you. I want to try to convince you that even though it feels like staying in touch with them would have some power or would give you some sort of advantage, some sort of in that would last even during the breakup, I'm telling you that's actually how you will lose your ex. That's not how to get an ex back. That's how to lose an ex. Do not keep the lines of communication open. Now, am I saying to ignore your ex? No, I'm saying don't initiate contact. If they reach out to you, you should be polite and casual, but not carry the conversation. That should be their job. But as far as reaching out, you do not do it. You do not make an effort to have contact with them. It's the no contact rule. And I have tons of videos about the no contact rule, and I'm pretty sure I mention it in just about every video that I have. But that's the first thing you have got to do is give your ex the breakup. The next thing you need to do in order to get your ex back is to bring your ex back to reality. And the reality I'm talking about here is the attraction totem pole. Because like I said, when they broke up with you, they moved you at least 1 rung below them. That means that your ex feels like they are attractive and sexy, and they are the ones who dismissed you, and they can walk off into the world, and people will be looking at them and wanting them and desiring them because they are the attractive one. They are so attractive that they dump somebody. Again, they would not put that into words that way, and they can still be a good person who doesn't have a massive ego or isn't arrogant and still feel that way to some degree. You can be a good person and still realize that maybe you're more attractive than this person or that person. And that's what your ex feels when they break up with you, even if they still care about you, which most do. But the way that you actually bring them back to reality is you don't chase them. You don't constantly remind them that you want them back. And you don't tell them, I'll be here waiting. If you ever do want me back, there's always me. That may be true. You're not perfect. And if you love somebody, you don't just flick a switch and turn it off. That's not natural. It's actually not emotionally healthy. If you can just flick the switch off and go from person to person, you've actually got some emotional and possibly mental issues that need to be worked through. If you are emotionally healthy, you don't just go from person to person. When you love someone, it takes time to get over the loss of that relationship if you do lose it. So don't be beating yourself up. I get it. You're not just going to flick that switch, but we don't want your ex to know that. That's just between you and me. You don't chase your ex. You don't let them know you're still interested. You back away and you give them your silence. So they're not feeling that pursuit. Their ego's not being blown air into like a balloon. They're actually having to sit back and not get that from you. And so what happens is they begin to think about this. It takes a little bit of time. I have a video that I will link to in the description below called Stages Your Ex Goes Through During No Contact. And the first stage is relief. And that's when you can't tell if no contact is working. They seem maybe like they're happy, like they're going off into the sunset, laughing with their friends, and you're the one hurting. Let them get out of relief. You do that by giving them the breakup and leaving them alone, like I've already said. But just them realizing that you're not chasing, you're not trying to fix their mess. You're not trying to fix the breakup. You're giving it to them. and you're not chasing or trying to get them to get back together with you, it pulls them back down from that higher rung of attraction on the totem pole. Now you may think, well, I want them to love me enough to get back together with me. I don't just want them to think, oh, they're just as attractive as me, so I should get back together with them. That's not what I'm saying. Because relationships are complex. Two people can love each other and not be romantic partners. Two people can be romantic partners and not love each other. That's not a good thing either. You want to love the person, be committed to the person, feel companionship and that feeling of family with someone, and to have that romance with them. Attraction is a big part of the romance pie. And it's also what can help with the next thing that I will mention. That is, you have to get your ex to feel the loss. And so if they feel that second thing, they feel that attraction because you are not chasing them, that's when they will feel the loss, because they will feel that you could move on. And maybe you already did, because they're not hearing from you. As far as they know, you could have moved on. That's when they can start to feel the loss. And this third step is actually something you don't have to actively do. It's part of what happens when you stay away and when you give them the breakup. They need to feel the loss, and that's the tables turning, because you were the one who felt the loss. Remember at the start of the video when I talked about you were the one who felt the loss and they were the one in control? Well, all of a sudden, you're the one moving and they're the one having to respond to your movement. In other words, if they're sitting there wondering, have you moved on? Could you move on? Have you? That's when they're the ones feeling the loss, because you're the one moving and they're the ones having something taken away. What's being taken away? Well, the rug's being yanked out from under them, because in something known as the arrogance of the dumper, this person thinks they could get you back whenever they wanted to. After the breakup, that's what most of them think. If they did change their minds, if they happened to, they could just get you back whenever they wanted to. That's being taken away, because they feel like if you're not reaching out, you're not pursuing, you seem to be just doing okay as far as they know, because they're not hearing anything from you. And so they assume you're moving on. They assume you're okay without them, without the relationship, and maybe you don't want them back. Now their attraction level feels like it's falling down on that rung. They are feeling the loss of you potentially. And that's when they have to really figure this out. Do I really want this breakup? It seemed so clear a few weeks ago. Now it's really confusing, because you don't know what you have until it's gone. And Hollywood has taught us that relationships are just constant fireworks, and you're supposed to find that person that it's always fireworks with, and that person doesn't exist, because that's something called limerence. And I have a video about that I'll link to in the description below. What is limerence? Well, it's the concept of being madly in love, and it's temporary. It will fade. It doesn't fade away completely. You still want to have romance and passion with this person, and you still will, but it won't be the fireworks of a new relationship. And sometimes people have to learn that. They think they can just back away and be okay without you. They won't know if they're okay without you unless you let them be without you. And so many of you are desperately holding on, trying to stay in contact, trying to interact, trying to be part of their lives, because you think that will help win them back. It actually won't, because what they have to feel is that they are losing you and they don't want to lose you. And so how do you get your ex back? How can you get your ex back? You flip the tables. You turn everything on its head. Now they are the ones feeling the loss. You are the one in control. They're the one feeling less attractive. You are the one whose attraction level is increasing in their eyes. You are the one who seems sure about this, because you're not trying to talk to them about getting back together. So they assume, well, you must be okay with this. They're the ones feeling the confusion, feeling the shock, feeling the disappointment of all this. And that's when the tables have turned, and you have someone who's actually learned something. It's not just, oh, I can't have you, so I want you. But they actually learn that they don't want to face the world without you, that they don't want to live without you. They see their place. They see your place in their life. Get more information on my emergency breakup kit. I link to it in the description below. It's the culmination of my 20 years in the relationship coaching service, and it's a powerful guide to help you get your ex back. You'll learn about a lot of the things I mentioned here, but I will expand on them. We'll talk about other strategies and what you can do to get your ex back and keep them back. and also how you can handle some of the anxiety you feel. But it's something you can get, and in just a matter of minutes, you can start the process of getting your ex back. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I have more videos. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and you can always leave a tip for me in my tip jar with the link below. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.